Hi-Res Bart, and I'm being joined today by Nietzsche as my co-caster, and we're going to be taking a look at Snipe versus Team Dignitas. Please allow me to introduce your teams. On the left side of your screen, the bottom side of the minimap, and they are the blue team. It is Wolfie, Shing, Allied, and Continental, and you making up Snipe. You have Wolfie going into the solo lane on tier, Shing in the jungle on the Thor, Allied and Continental combining for the dual lane, Apollo Bacchus, and Agni being played by You Won't, replacing Nick, whose internet took a nosedive on the Agni. They'll be going up against the red team, fighting out of the right side of the spectator UI. At the top of the minimap, in the red shorts, it is Team Dignitas. They are Zapman and Shadowgu combining for the Shibalanke and Sobek dual lane. Anatoly going to be your solo lane Guan Yu. Lassus in the jungle as Athena. And the best will be reprising his role in mid as Zhonghui. And as we were saying during the break there, it's such a precision team from Snipe versus such an AoE team from Team Dignitas, and playing without their starting mid laner. I think this one is on paper Dignitas' game to win.
Yeah, they definitely have a completely different composition. You know, as you said, very focused damage coming out from Snipe, and not a high synergy team. They're not relying really heavily on the interplay between mechanics with their god choices. Dignitas, on the other hand, the complete opposite end of the spectrum. They are 100% reliant on executing well as a team, and if anyone can do it, certainly Dignitas can.
So on the right side, you're going to have the blue team of Snipe picking up their set of mid Harpies, and the left side, you're going to have the red team Dignitas picking up theirs. And it looks like it's going to be a fairly passive open to the game here. No real aggressive invades. In fact, electing to pick up some farm in the left side lane and Continental and Allied, leaving that orange buff for the later rotation. And I think you were right. We were kind of talking before the game started here, guys. That it seems like that Zhonghui is going to be, a good pivot point, a good barometer for Dignitas. If Best is doing well and keeping up in farm with the Agni, isn't going to gank too much, it should be a pretty solid game for Dignitas to hit, with the bruisers and the tank style lineup, maybe early parts of the mid game, 15, 20-ish minutes to really just be too much for Snipe to handle. I think that's what they're going for here.
Yeah, and it's really going to come down to a question of whether or not You Won't can punish Best, because the Best, as we know on Zhonghui, has to push up a little bit, has to get into that back line of those creep waves in order to be effective. So if he can get sort of zoned out a little bit, punished every time he comes forward by You Won't, this could go in a bad way for him. On the contrary, his sustain is unbelievable, that Zhonghui, so it could also go really badly for You Won't.
So a little bit of a misplay there from Lassus. He tries to come across the enemy mid lane between the tier 1 and tier 2 tower and get into the orange buff here. You can see he's trying to counter jungle that, and keep it away from Thor, but he did aggro the creep wave, and that's just a mistake he really shouldn't be making at this level of play, to not know where that creep wave was going to be coming out and how far along they would be. If you don't know, watching along at home, you can look on your side of the map. The creeps spawn at the same time, so he should know exactly where that wave is, and we're just getting it in from production. Clash and Slash has already got knocked out by Cognitive Gaming in rare form this week, ladies and gentlemen. Snipe and Dignitas here, the game we're watching. It looks like it's going to be a Cognitive Finals yet again, and it's going to be Dignitas or Snipe going up against them here. And I'm sure that they're hearing it as well, or see it on Twitter or something, and they know exactly what they're playing for in this game. It's looking to be a good one so far.
Good mid-camp control by both teams, getting split evenly between the two. We did see that you had Snipe spending a little bit of extra time, Snipe's jungler spending a little bit extra time in that solo lane as compared to the Athena. So Anatoly is out-leveling Wolfie right now, just by nature of Wolfie having to have shared XP with Shing.
Yeah, it's kind of the standard play, but yeah, I think Thor stayed a little bit longer than normal, and it did allow Lassus to counter jungle that orange, so it's still kind of in Dignitas' favor, as we were kind of talking about. It seems to go just a little bit in their advantage all the time in the laning phase.
Yep, just little by little, bit by bit, and we see over in left lane that Allied is all by his lonesome, getting that solo lane XP as Shadowgu and Zapman put slow pressure. They don't want to give Allied that opportunity, so they're just going to sit back, let the minions farm each other up, and let Allied just kind of hang back out of range where he can't get anything accomplished.
So, and we got to keep in mind here, Dignitas, banned out the Thanatos and the Sun Wukong. So, I think we should try to keep our eyes out for where that maybe is hurting them. Anatoly here in the soul lane, aggressing Wolfie. He's going to get the Thor dunk coming in. In comes Tyr as well, and not even Guan Yu is going to be able to survive this kind of damage. Down he goes just like that. Shibalake ultimate coming out just a bit late. He must have just hit level 5. And no, he's level 6 actually. So a little bit late on that ultimate, I think, from Zatman. Maybe it probably wouldn't have done much, though.
Yeah, but that is going to be so extremely scary every time that Thor dunks in. The double dunk from Thor and from Tyr is going to be really dangerous. And as you saw, I mean, Guan Yu just cannot handle that kind of pressure.
Wow, I just saw in chat that in that last game that MLC Stealth and Anderson from COG went 30-1 in a 20-minute victory. The two of them combined from COG.
Bro,
you guys, if you want to go watch that one, the match ID, you can pull it off the stat page and watch it in the game client, and keep this open on your Twitch as well, and get a loadout what happened. So a very, very dominant victory from them here. A fairly pensive game from Dignitas and Snipe so far. Not really a lot of action besides that Thor game, because that's very standard fare. Thor, that's what he does. He initiates from range with a stun that does a nice amount of burst damage. When you couple it with Tyr, it's going to be tough for Anatoly to really deal with that without beads. I would expect him to be picking those. Oh no, I'm sorry. Of course, he has teleport to towers and so no beads for him. So he's going to have to be a little bit more aware. Maybe ward up. You see him actually rotating towards the mid to put that ward just to the right of the mid lane. He needs to know if Thor's initiating from the Fire Giant, and so he puts a ward right there, and he should be a bit safer now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I feel like every time he gets caught out, he's going to suffer for it. I think if he gets dunked on by Thor and the stun lands, that may be it. You might see him build a little tankier as a result, so he can survive that initial burst and then use his ult to get out. Yeah,
it's the horse should be able to save him from most of that. It shouldn't be really too tall of a task for him. So Snipe, it looks like it's a time where Continental is going to go ahead and rotate over to the mid. He should hang out here for about a minute. He's going to wait until the mid camps respawn, most likely here, as Apollo's going back. So this is, what you see, the high-level teams, when they're highly coordinated, every time, the range goes back, if the tank is still in a good way, he'll go rotate over to the mid. And they try to be there around the, about the even minutes around the 20-second mark. That's when you expect the mid camps to be coming back online if they've been taken kind of on the mark. Maybe 1, 2, or 3 seconds slower as the game goes on. In the mid lane, it looks like, I think that Lassus is perfectly happy just to make his mark here, because as you kind of mentioned, and I think you're right about that, it's Zhang Kui, right? If Zhang Kui just does fine through most of the parts of the early game here, should be no problem. And so Lassus, if he just keeps pressure here and just make sure that they stay mostly away from Best, should be A-okay. 6-minute Gold Fury's going to be respawning here, and it looks like there's going to be a little bit of showdown on the left side.
Yeah, we do see 3 members of Dignitas going to look at that left side, but they're going to rotate back to mid as those mid Furies do just come up. Xing and Incontinenti are going to take it, no problem. So the Best and Shadow Q are going to go to the right side for their free mid Furies as well. Again, both teams playing, like you said, a little pensive, a little defensive, a little careful. They don't want to risk anything big here early and are just going to play the game that they know will give them what they want. Anatoly just barely getting out as thanks to that Lass's ult from Athena. Wolfie going to continue the pressure, and Lassus is going to have to hold that lane. But here comes Xing with the dunk. Lassus is going to take plenty of damage. There's a stun. She's going to go down to about half health. And this is a threatening right lane. They have been getting pushed really hard. Dignitas not controlling that right lane like they want. Lass is going to try and do something. There's the stun from the wall. Lassus may go down here as that wall is very much blocking him out. He is so low. Xing going to try and teleport in. Anatoly has just teleported back to tower. So this is going to be an ult from Anatoly to try and clean up on Xing and Wolfie. There's the Shibalanke ult. Are they both going to get stunned? No, Xing's going to pop his beads. He's going to be able to get out. Wolfie now getting very low. He's going to have to run, but here comes Zhang Kui. The Best comes in, drops his ult. He's going to go after him, and Wolfie is most certainly going to go down from this beautiful rotation by the Best.
Yeah, it's a great rotation for Best, but it's a really good play from Snipe to cover on the backside. Bach is soaking up some much-needed farm in the mid as Best rotates out. So, even though they lose a kill there, they are now 1-1, and they got some much-needed farm on Baka sitting at level 8, but Shadow Q at level 9 just sticking in the duo lane. So it's kind of as we keep on coming back to, Dignitas just seems to get those little bits extra, and they steadily, even when you see the first kill coming out from Snipe, giving them that extra gold, it's been, slowly chipped away up by Dignitas, and now they're back again, pulled even and a little bit in their favor.
Here comes the Bacchus burp in the right lane, going to put a little hurt on Anatoly, nothing that he can't handle. We do see a rotation of the Best and Shadow Q going to get those mid-Fury camps on the left side. You won't is going to try and deal with it, maybe get a little still in there. Nope, he's going to go ahead and back off back into lane. Let's take a look at some builds here. You know, I want to talk about this sort of meta change.
So it's yeah. I mean, I think you're right here as the mid camps start to go down on the left and right side. You know, it's gonna be interesting to see how these teams wrestle control against each other.
It is absolutely, you know, a great matchup. So this is certainly, you know, definitely not in either team's favor. It is 1-1 on the scoreboard, and you know, so as I was saying, let's take a look at these builds. Allied building the Death's Toll, rank 1 Aussie, and then the Heartseeker. I said this earlier in the cast, but for anybody who hasn't seen it, I really like this move. As the lifesteal got removed from Shin's Blade, people have finally realized that Aussie is a damn good item as a result. There is an engagement here in middle. We are going to see the ult coming out from Xbalanque to try and save Shadow Q. Shadow Q is going to go down as there is just too much damage from the Agni, Thor, and Incontinentia on that Bacchus, and Lassus is just going to go ahead and get out of dodge.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see some coordination between Anatoly and Lassus here, and you know, it'll probably need another blink initiation from Zhonghui as well. But you know, if they use the 3 ults, they should be able to keep tier down, and you know, keeping that solo lane behind your solo lane allows, you know, what normally would be your bruiser to be very, very good against their bruiser, which can be very valuable in team fights in terms of your potential to zone the enemy team from objectives like the Gold Fury.
Yeah, you know, there's plenty of work to be done by those bruisers, but at this point, I honestly think the story is all about the junglers. Thor making his presence so much more known. He's going to go ahead and engage on Anatoly. There's the wall, comes in. You see the ultimate from Athena is going to try and come in and make a save. Xing is going to go up in the air. He's got down below half health as that ult lands on him. He is now up. Lass is in the lane. Anatoly's going to go ahead and back off. That Thor is got to be thinking retreat right now. Yes, he is going to go ahead and retreat into that jungle. Very good save by Lassus, and a lot of damage coming out from that combo ult from Anatoly and Lassus.
Yeah, it's that's what we're looking for. And it looks like they're going to be using it more defensively. Lassus is going to try to keep his farm up as high as possible and only ult over there when they need to save Anatoly versus necessarily looking for kills. There's the creeping curse coming out on to Wolfie from Lassus there, and that's what he generally likes to do on this jungle Athena, is go Hand of the Gods, creeping curse. So it increases his ability to catch them with the dash and the taunt combination. Gives him, you know, a little bit more chance of maybe hitting the second part of Shield Wall. And there you can see just how much damage Shield Wall does as Wolfie is in some trouble.
Yeah, Wolfie's in a little bit of trouble, but at the same time over in mid camps, we see that Incontinentia is able to take the mid Furies away from 2 Dignitas players. Lassus is going to ult here and try and finish off Wolfie, but Anatoly's not going to be able to chase quite far enough. I'm wrong, actually, as that Athena ult is going to bring her, she's going to head back to base. So no ult there. She actually was being back to base.
Yeah, it is so similar.
I know the animations.
Yeah. Her ultimate not off cooldown just yet. You know, I was maybe expecting her to port back in on top of Anatoly, but not done just yet. Now that Athena ultimate back up, so Anatoly will not be forced to retreat to tower quite as often. Best goes through a card through the wall there in the mid lane. Doesn't find You Won't. We do have the Hunters going at it in the 1v1 on the side lane there. And it's currently swung in favor of Zapman, is the branching pole is doing some nice harassment to Allied there. So, you know, we haven't really talked so much about Zapman's build. It's not going to be the Transcendence. So that's always the question when Xbalanque is in the game. Is he going to build a Transcendence? And here we see he is definitely not going to. It's going to be Aussie Heartseeker. And he's actually in a good part in his build. And Allied's going for the same thing. But Aussie 2, I think, brings a lot more in terms of lane sustain than Aussie 1. Zapman actually going to be a little bit of trouble there as it looks like Incontinentia wants to chase him. And Xing has an ultimate as well. So the ultimate going to come out from the Xbalanque, but he is got to be worried about this. Thor in the air, not going to be able to cover enough distance. Down he goes. In the meantime, the other side of the map, Athena and Guan Yu combined for a kill onto the tier.
Yeah, and that could have been you know, a problem if they gave that lead to Snipe up to 3-1, but securing that kill on tier is going to keep it pretty even. The gold almost exactly the same, literally about 20 gold differential, but in terms of tower damage, Dignitas definitely in better shape, as they are going to take right tower here at only 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes.
Yeah, it's not, you know, I don't think we call it an early tower, but it's like in this game, the pace of this game, it's a very early tower. Like, right. You know, normally like a tower going down about 7 minutes means that the solo lane just got stomped. Like they just got pushed through or died to a multiplayer gank. But for this game, it feels like a really early tower because it's been just such a slow game. Only 5 kills now through 12, 13 minutes almost. And very, very little gold separating these teams besides that tower. So it could potentially be a very big chess piece, so to speak, for Team Dignitas here that, they will not need to pay quite as much attention and can have this Guan Yu rotating a little bit more heavily to the mid lane and try to maybe get Zhonghui to pull ahead a bit of the Agni.
Yeah, and in terms of that, in that same vein, people, sometimes forget losing your tower provides in many ways the same rotation ability. In fact, almost better rotation ability. If you lose your tower, you can definitely be a little more aggressive in your rotations because you don't have to worry about defending a tower up in front. Guan Yu cannot push up to that second tower this early in the game without some significant help. So that's going to free up Tier to make his rotations and hopefully put pressure onto that Zhonghui. Because Zhonghui right now sitting at 1-0 on kills, and you need to shut him down because late game, when he gets that Blink Initiate really rolling and probably gets a Gem of Isolation, I'm going to assume, that is going to be ugly and hard to deal with.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's always that trade-off when you take a tower this early, but it's one that teams seem to always take, right? They're always like, okay, well, yeah, well, we'd rather have the gold, and we'll let Guan Yu try to find safe farm where he can and farm the jungle a little bit and rotate, and it does. You're right. I mean, it should give Tier some last hits, but it's not going to give him necessarily the kind of flash farm he needs to get back up to Guan Yu. Right. But he is going to get plenty of last hits, get his gold up, and continue through his build. He has Mystical Mark done and the cooldown boost, so he's probably not going to be dying much more to ganks out of this lane. Anatoly has Heartseeker Mystical Mark, though, so the much more aggressive build seems to be Anatoly's favorite build is coming out from him. So let's also compare the Warriors real quick before, I'm sorry, the Hunters before we move on. Allied level 14, Zapman level 14, 600 and about 6,600 net worth for Allied. Speaking of them, Zapman going in here, Sprint is activated. They're going to put out as much damage as they can onto Allied, and he does not have time to channel his ultimate. Down he goes. Zapman and Last is combined for a kill on the left side lane, and that is definitely going to put Zapman ahead. Baka's ultimate comes out under tower. I think it was canceled. I don't think they're intoxicated. No, there's the intoxication coming out as he blasts it off again, and a nice play. Now Thor's in there. It could be a big initiation here. It's not going to find Zapman. Zapman dodges that very, very nicely out with the Rising Jaguar. Shing is still here. They should be able to put the damage out, but they're going to force a lot of damage from the Best to get this Zapman. Best channeling those demons in here. Continental starting to take a lot. Best moving back towards you. Won't. Shadowq channeling that ultimate by Sobek underneath there as well. Wolfie taking the damage, and this is Dignitas' fight through and through.
I agree. It was definitely Dignitas' fight, but really only because Allied was down. So that was a 1v1 trade in that fight. If Xbalanque hadn't been able to sort of push and get Apollo early, basically for free, that would have been an even trade, and it could have definitely gone in Snipe's favor. As the Best now gets pushed back into tower by Wolfie. He is so low, he's going to get stunned by the Bacchus, and the Best is going to go down. What a great play by Tier to push him back into the tower. This fight is still going on. Wolfie getting very, very low. He's going to go down as well. Incontinentia is super low. Anatoly's going to go onto the ult to try and finish off this Bacchus. Is he going to be able to get there and do it? He is. There comes You Won't with his ult, but he's going to get stunned. And now Dignitas is going to have to retreat. Anatoly's so low. Lass is taking tower hits, but the chase is on. Allied with the Mesmerize. Lands at Lasses is going to go down as well, I think here. You Won't chasing, but he's getting big hits from Shadowq, and they're going to get Lasses and clean that up. What an unbelievably great turnaround by Snipe to take that opportunity as Allied came back up and get a couple of really good stunts. Tier with the amazing initiate on the Best to take him out of that fight early, and just such good play there. Probably traded a little bit more than they necessarily needed to, but Snipe coming out on top from that engagement.
Yeah, and now Snipe, very much on top after the gold feud they pick up after it. I mean, really, the gods that they survived with were the right combination of gods to take that down. They don't have the Hand of the Gods 3 there, but what they do have is a Flame Path from Agni. There's just a lot of damage, plus the Apollo passive helps him put out, really a lot more damage than he necessarily would be able to, because it's just such a passive target. You can sit there and really build it up quickly, and they take it down. They burn it down before Zapman's able to really even have a chance to aggress it. So Snipe wrestles back the lead from Team Dignitas, and they have put a pretty frenetic pace in this game. The Blink initiation from Wolfie, I think if they keep that up and continue roaming the map, it's going to be tough for Dignitas to really find footing until they finish maybe the Gem of Isolation here on the Best. He's going for the Breastplate of Valor first, but I think that he'll be, well, maybe not, as Lassus is going to have the gem. He may go straight for Bancroft or something like that. But it's really once the Zhonghui gets really strong in the team fights that they have to start worrying.
Yeah, and I don't know about that call. Giving Lasses the Gem of Ice, so I wonder if the best is going to pick it up later on, just because it is so powerful on that ultimate. But I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, letting Lasses do a lot of that CC and control, especially with that taunt, and he can hit a bunch of people at the same time, especially as well with the ult and the shield wall. It's a pretty good bet that Lasses maybe relied on for that CC control. Shibalanke pushing forward here, trying to steal that blue from Allied, and he looks like he is going to get it unless that Bacchus rotates left, but he doesn't appear to be. They do not have ward coverage over there, so they have no idea that Shibalanke is pushed up for the blue. On the right side, Wolfie and Xing are going to take their blue and then go initiate on Anatoly, who is pushed up a little far. There's the wall from Xing, but he is going to actually miss that wall. He's trying to box Anatoly in, but Anatoly is going to get support from the Athena ult, and that's going to make Snipe back out, back into their former tower range.
Yeah, they're sitting around where that tier 1 would have been, and they can't really chase down the Athena by any stretch of the imagination. She's just too difficult to lock down with the dash and her general tankiness. So they let her go, and they know they don't really have a good shot at getting Guan Yu. His ultimate wasn't even used there. They didn't even try to turn that around. Anatoly going to be going for the MS build here. Instead of boots, it's going to be the Heartseeker, granting him 8 movement speed, and it's going to be the Witchstone that will be granting him, I believe, 15% movement speed at its tier 3 as well. Left side lane here, it's going to be a little bit of a hunter duel. I think they're going to go at this one. This is going to be all the way to the end. Auto attacks coming in. Ultimate comes out from Zatman, giving him the movement speed, and now he's going to try to disengage as the trap is closing. And Continentia is going to whiff the leap as Zatman dashes out of there, but Apollo's gone in the air. They don't find the belly flop, so they won't continue in. He's now going to make his way towards these camps towards the mid of the map, and a near death there for both of those hunters.
Yeah, really good of Continentia to back off from that. I was very worried as the Best and Shadow Q were both preparing to rotate over. Here's an initiation on Shadow Q in the jungle, though. Yuwont and Xing both there. That's Agni and Thor, and Shadow Q is going to have to go into his ultimate in order to get away from this, but he's still taking a ton of damage from that Xing spin, and is he going to go down? The Best pops his ult to try and protect Shadow Q. Shadow Q is going to go down from Xing. Here comes Incontinentia with the belly flop, the burp, and the ult. So this is going to be a troubled the Best. The Xing ult misses, though. He does not land the dunk, so that Best is probably going to get away. Although the wall comes down, gets the stun. Here's the ult from Athena to come in and support. Apollo is going to go down in the backline to Shibalanke. Shibalanke rotated over. Here's Anatoly pushing on Incontinentia. This was a great initiation that turned out horribly, horribly wrong for Snipe.
Yeah, they took them a little bit too long to kill Shadow Q, and Shadow Q actually finished channeling his ultimate and got it out during that engagement before he was shut down by the damage of Snipe. They had a little bit, they had just not enough damage to actually bring him down. So, that helps put out some extra damage, and then Zhonghui's there. He gets a stun. He's channeling his ultimate, and it just does too much. Shibalanke rotation there at the end, as you mentioned. Quite good, and Zatman is ripping through his build here. Sitting only on Boots 1, that's Executioner done, plus the Heartseeker, plus the Aussie. So a couple of attack speed items, some penetration, some lifesteal, true penetration items, I'm sorry, and quite a bit of damage out of the Heartseeker. Soon going to be Rageblade. The crits are going to be real from Zatman, and once he gets Rageblade Deathbringer, he looks like he's quite a bit ahead of Allied on that path. In fact, individually about 700 gold. So this could get ugly pretty quickly.
Yeah, this has been a very back-and-forth game, though. You can look at the gold chart, and this has swung back and forth several times now. So nobody can be counted out at this point. Yuwont is going to go ahead and head back, as there is a little bit of a reset here in terms of positioning. Allied still trying to defend that tower, as Zatman has been pushed up against that left side tower pretty much the entire game. And I wish I saw some more rotations coming from Snipe to deal with Zatman, who is overextending on the regular, but they're not capitalizing on it and taking the gank opportunity.
Well, I think it's the threat of the Athena ultimate. Shibalanke is such a tricky target to lock down. The CC immunity coming in at the end of his dash. It's a fairly fast dash. It has the dash forward component and then the leap, which makes him notoriously difficult to pin down with auto attacks or even kind of pinpoint abilities while he's in it. And then he has the ultimate, and he has the Athena ultimate kind of followed up. He's going to be pretty hard to lock down, but I agree that if you're going to go after a slippery target, it's got to be the Shibalanke over the Guan Yu at this stage in the game. And they've definitely tried to gank Guan Yu a couple times with Thor, through the mid game.
Yeah, so you will see Dignitas taking down those right Fury camps free and clear, as there's a double push from Snipe in the right lane. Wolfie's going to get up into that lane. Xing is going to come around and try to come around on Anatoly, but no, he's going to go back towards mid lane. Anatoly goes into his tower, and this is where the rotations start. Wolfie goes left as that Guan Yu is forced to stay right lane and, control that wave clear.
Yeah, so there it is, right? I mean, yet another kind of pressure gank attempt onto Guan Yu, where, you know, they I agree, should likely be spending that on Xbalanque with those Thor rotations. Even though they know this left side is heavily warded, you can see the ward coverage, in fact, from Snipe here is pretty extensive. But, you know, a well-placed counter ward maybe and one Thor rotation, I feel like it's, you know, even with the ward coverage there, you kind of just have to go for it. Just try to pressure something on this left side lane, because you don't want Zatman to get out of hand. Or even the mid lane, where Best is getting a lot of good farm here. Is just 600 gold behind the Agni, but, you know, is getting through with 1, 1, and 4. Hasn't been shut down in any sense of the word.
Yeah, but he's still only sitting on that 3-item build plus the starter item. He's got plenty of CDR, which is obviously very important for Zhongkui. He gets so much health back, and the more often he can do that, the better. We'll see if he goes with that Gem of Isolation next, as we've been talking about. And I feel like Snipe is missing a couple opportunities. You know, they've been playing pretty well. They've been, you know, controlling the map really well. They've been putting some ganks on the right lane. They did lose that right tower. But again, they need to rotate into left lane, take Zatman out when he's pushed up, and they need to get some more pressure onto Zhongkui if they want to control this, because I have the feeling that Dignitas is going to wind up being a little bit stronger in the late game.
Yeah, and you know, Lassus at 4, 1, and 3 has been, you know, his net worth is very high. I mean, he's the top farmer in the game right now, and he'll have a Rata Tahuti. Once he does, really, it's going to be very hard for Snipe to initiate through a shield wall. I mean, if you won't Xing or Allied get hit with either part of the detonation, it's going to do a lot of damage. And if either of the more tanky targets get, you know, hit with the first part and a taunt and eat the second part, it's going to take a large chunk of their health. I think if you're not familiar with her, shield wall does an absurd amount of damage and has very, very high scalings for her class. It's just not necessarily that easy to secure the farm on her to get to that point, but Lassus really has made a name for himself as a specialist in doing so. And here you're going to see exactly how powerful she is. Left side lane, we're going to have an initiation, though, Nietzsche. As Zatman's getting belly flopped here, this is going to be tough to get out of.
Yeah, there's no way he's escaping that one. Just too much damage coming from Incontinentia's ult as he belly flops in. So Shadow Q now in trouble. He's going to have to go into his ult to try and get away. There's the stun from Incontinentia. Shadow Q is going to beads it to get away. He's so low on health, and I don't think Allied can get there. Xing comes in, though, to try and stop the Best from rotating. That was a very, very good play by Xing.
Oh, no. He's given up. He's now going to dive into the mid lane where it's Anatoly. They force the Athena rotation out to the left side, though. So now they may be able to pick up Anatoly. He's going to heal himself up. There is an ultimate available, and he's going to hop on the horse, and he should be okay to retreat back through the tower here. One more Agni Bomb. So beautiful, misses. Not going to be enough, just
and he's
barely.
So out of position now.
Wolfie stunned under tower by the Best. This is trouble. I think he's going to be okay. Taunted by Lassus. Shield wall from Thor, though, is going to keep Best from slowing him, at least for the moment. Ultimate being used now. Demon's being channeled, but it's not going to be enough. Another kill under tower as Snipe roams his 5, gets some kills, and finds a mid. And they are going to take a Gold Fury here as well on the back of that, and are going to build themselves a tidy little 4K gold lead.
Xing's Thor, so strong. He absolutely melted the Best, and I understand the Best trying to go in and capitalize on Wolfie being out of position, but I think he should have known that Wolfie being on that tier is a little bit too tanky to make that happen. And with 4 people in the mid lane from Snipe, that was a really dangerous place for the Best, you know, to get that far forward, even though he was under tower.
Yeah, I think it's a tall task here now for Dignitas, who, you know, I was kind of saying, I think that they had maybe the stronger mid-game team. And, you know, looking at the late-game potential, it's you know, Lassus does a lot of damage. Totally could transition into a damage build, but I think he would probably die to the Agni. Zatman is obviously going to be a late-game machine, but, you know, the Thor, I think, is a little bit better positioned than the Athena to go into the really late game. So I think Dignitas, you know, they should have another window here in maybe the next 10 minutes if all stays well and Zatman's able to get his executioner up and running before Allied gets there. But he's only about 100 gold ahead now, so that's going to be even more difficult. But they should still have that window and try to be able to, you know, put pressure around the map, unless, of course, you know, they find a really good engagement and take a big team fight.
Yeah, and I'm also really impressed with Yuwon's ability to kind of shut down the Best. You know, it hasn't been a full-on shutdown. He hasn't just completely removed him from the game, but he's done enough to make it where, you know, the Best isn't going to be able to really turn a fight like you would hope he would on a Zhongkui.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, he's going to go Obsidian Shard now, so it is going to be just the Gem of Isolation for Lassus. Not going to get 2 on the team, at least for now. Big penetration item. There is, you know, the Bulwark, notably on Xing. You have the Void Stone for Yuwon. Wolfie has the Urchin Hide. Another bulwark for Incontinentia. So there's a lot of magic protection that he's going to be mitigating now with that Obsidian Shard. It's not an aura, it's just for his attacks. So only really helping out the Zhang Kui there. The build on Anatoly is starting to really flesh out here. He's going to be going that very Bruiser style. A lot of physical protection between Mystical Mark and Witchstone. Bulwark too as well. So Guan Yu going to look to be the very aggressive front line. And you know, if Dignitas, they have very serious kill potential with a Guan Yu ultimate into Athena ultimate combination. Xing once again making his presence known over here on the right side, where he's going to stun out Anatoly and then casually pick up the blue buff in enemy territory. Anatoly doesn't seem to really want to have much of that though. It's going to force the reset. So looks like it's going to be a little bit of shenanigans on the right side, and both teams perfectly happy to resume the laning phase.
Yeah, and shocking considering it's 27th minute. You don't usually expect any more laning at this point. But you know, there's literally one tower down from each team at 27 minutes. This is going to be a long game unless we see a big team fight with a wipe.
I feel like this is Dignitas's style more than it is Snipe style. Snipe a little bit more of an aggressive, in-your-face team. Hold that thought as we have an engagement over on the right side where it's going to be an ultimate coming out from Xing to avoid the the Lassus Anatoly combination, and it's full retreat from Snipe there. But I think Dignitas is a little bit more of a slow-paced team, or they take that game a little bit better than Snipe is a little bit more snowball reliant, and it just kind of is on the back of Xing, who's just a very, very aggressive jungle player. So I think when Xing's in his element, they seem to do best. So that's really the super aggressive team. We'll see, if this kind of maybe slower paced game is still good for them, where Wolfie is more of maybe that style of player, a little bit more of the farm up for lane and really try to have a big impact in the mid game, playing primarily the warrior role. So it's going to be I think a pretty big transition into the early late game where you're going to see these teams really wanting to fight around that 35-minute mark, and it's going to be a bloodbath, and that's probably going to determine our winner.
Yeah, I do like Wolfie going with the Hide of the Urchin. Such a good item on tier, who is going to get so many assists as he goes into this late game, and that Hide of the Urchin is going to give +2 protections for each god kill or assist. So it's not like some of the other stacking items where you're only going to get one for your creep kill and 5 for your god kill. So he's going to get that no matter what happens, as long as they are getting kills. And plenty of kills have been coming out for Snipe as Shadow Q gets caught out by that wall, and this is a 5v1 here as Zapman's going to come in and try and save, but not even close to in time, as Shadow Q just gets decimated by a 5-man spike.
Yeah, he got just completely melted, burned right through, and it was the crits coming in from Allied that really just did a lot of damage. That Rage Blade coming into effect there. Gold Fury not going to be up for another 50 seconds, but it's going to be an enforced rotation here from Snipe to the left side, where it looks like they want to get a return tower for this left lane, as theirs has just gone down, helping Dignitas out a little bit with that gold lead, bring it back within about 3K here. It's a pretty close game, all things told. 30 minutes in, it's been a very methodically paced game, and we haven't seen a lot of gank attempts coming out really from Dignitas. It's been more counter initiation from them with Athena, but they're not pressuring the mid lane here. Zapman forced to beads and dash out of the Fearless for Wolfie. And it looks like Dignitas is ready to group and fight left side lane. They're going to let this tower go, though. It looks like Allied's going to take that pretty easily. And in the meantime, Xing is going to kill Zapman here with initiation. And Dignitas has just got spread out, and they're in some trouble here.
Yeah, and just look, though, how much damage that Athena did to Apollo. Athena's going to ult into the middle here as we do have a fight. Xing's going to have to ult to try and get out. Is he going to have enough to get out? He is going to have just barely enough time. Allied's going to come straight in, though, and take a ton of damage from the best as he pops his 2. There's going to be a chase from Lassus. There's the taunt. Going to try and hit Allied. Allied is going to be able to escape, and here's a big push from Dignitas in return. Dementia down at half health. Wolfie down at half health. He's going to switch stances. They're going to push on that tower with no cares in the world. Here comes the ult from Bacchus, and he's going to get everybody with that. They're going to try and counter push here. There's the ult from Agni. He's going to put some damage on Shadow Q. I don't know why he's attacking Shadow Q as Wolfie gets taunted. Wolfie gets taunted and taken out under tower. This is not a good position for Snipe to be in.
Yeah, they lose their tier, so now they don't have that blink initiation. Zapman back up in 5 seconds. Gold Fury has just respawned. Would not be surprised to see Dignitas back off here and try to pick that up. In fact, see Lassus moving towards that side of the map, and Shadow Q joining suit. I don't know. I don't think they can pick up Incontinentia necessarily. Looks like Snipe's going to make a try for Anatoly here. He's going to get hit with 1 bomb. Actually stunned out into bad spot, knocked up dead Guan Yu. No way he's getting out of this one. And so Snipe finds yet another pick, and in comes Allied. Now it's Snipe's ability to aggress the Gold Fury here, and it looks like they're happy to do so.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for Snipe to sort of recoup some of the loss they made there, as they did get a nice kill on Guan Yu. So that exchange, should have gone more in the favor of Dignitas. The wall from Thor coming out to block Shadow Q, and that Gold Fury is going to go to Snipe. So what should have been a Dignitas victory on that mid lane push, they were not able to get the tower, and they lost Gold Fury out of it. So I don't know what Dignitas is doing right now, but they need to do something to get back in this game, because right now they are down 6K gold.
We're pretty close here to the door being closed on Dignitas' ability to really effectively burst Snipe down. Like, they're just getting too big, too tanky, too many levels, too much HP, and I really think the door is closing on Dignitas' ability to have the Athena ult be a big threat, which I think is a big part of their team. And we haven't really seen much of initiation. It's all been counter initiation from them. I'd really like to see a Shibalanke ultimate into Best blinking in with a Guan Yu charge and Lasses there, and really give it put an all in into one of these team fights and see if they can take it, because they really need to win a big team fight to get back into this game and take one of these objectives between the Gold Fury and Fire Giant. And I just feel like if they don't get to it sooner than later, it's going to be too late.
And this is what I don't understand. I mean, we talked at the beginning of the match that Dignitas' team comp is a initiation, coordination team comp, and they're not doing it.
Yeah, they're really not. They're really not trying to take fights. It's purely counter initiation. Dignitas wants to play the farm war, it seems like, almost here. But that's putting it all.
The only other jungler that Hyrox's able to use successfully, Bastet, kill death ratio 0.3. Thor, kill death ratio 0.5. Hyrox needs to have that, and Bastet goes away. So, if you give him Thor, is it really going to be worth it? I mean, Hyrox has not proven himself as a jungler until he found that chalk, kind of missing a lot of his abilities, or not able to getting the rotations that his team needs. At the same time, you're going to see Ra removed here from Xaylia. That means, wait, what is it?
Shadow Nightmare, one of the original Zeus players.
There's a baby.
But there is a baby on the table. If they don't pick him here, someone has to play him on Team Q, or from my understanding, that's going to be GG.
Like, you can't. It's there. Oh, they're not going to take it. They want Spec to have Neith. Sun Wukong is there. Are they going to give up Vamana again? I'm a little bit shocked here. I mean, Ra banned out, of course. Xaylia plays a very strong Ra. Guan Yu banned out there, very strong. We saw Suntouch play Guan Yu last game, destroyed. So the respect bans are pretty much even across the board. Zeus will be first picked up here by Shadow Nightmare. Freya is also available. Surprised to see not picked up Chang'e.
A character that I have fallen in love with over the past couple weeks. Incredibly potent, and I still consider Waxing Moon to be the best move in the game. It does a lot of damage.
That stun is amazing.
It's incredible. It forces out so many uses of beads, of Aegis, and not to mention she has a fair amount of healing, a ton of movement speed, and I have found great success in killing the caster and then running in circles.
The baby, it's still here. He has 18.0 kill death ratio with this character. How is this not being picked right now?
Maybe they're using it as a counter pick. Maybe there are things Xaylia doesn't want to fight, and that's why we haven't seen the baby yet. And they do have the opportunity to last pick. So we're going to see Isis here, more than likely for Sio, one of the strongest Isis players, if not the strongest Isis player in the world. Suntouch has the pick of the litter here. Does he want Sun Wukong? Is Sun Wukong going to go to Xaylia? The ambiguity has to end here, though, because they need to pick one or the other. Either baby's going to be grabbed here. I have nothing. I don't know what to do about anything.
They locked it.
I have no idea what to do. They don't play it, and then she gets nerfed, and they play it, and there's the baby.
There's the baby. They baited it out. Isis in response. I'm going to go over here. I'm a little bit.
Wait.
I don't know. Isis is hovered on. Bach is going to go to Emilito. You have Chang'e picked up by Spoo, most likely. Zeus for Shadow Nightmare. But again, the jungle is very interesting here.
Zeus jungle?
It could be Zeus jungle. Funball's going to grab Shibalanke. Bacchus goes to Emilito. We know that. Thanatos swapped over. That's going to be going to Hyrox for the jungle. There you go. This is the other successful jungler that he has said. Like I said before, Chalk, very powerful for Hyrox. And again, Thanatos is second most successful jungler. They're gonna grab that up and give it right over to. On her, gonna be picked up by Funball. Spoo's gonna be playing Chunga, and in the mid lane we have Zeus played by Shadow Nightmare. I'm surprised to see Shadow Nightmare not actually going for something like a Freya or a Habwa, two more of his successful characters over Zeus itself, but that was available. Back over to Smek. He has Neath guaranteed. He's going to be picking for mid lane. It's going to be Agni going over to Sayo. Ice is available, but, Sayo just kind of swapping it up here. So we have Agni on Sayo. Smek has Neath, and Vamana goes to Zalia. Smek has over a 10.0 KD in tournament play with Neath. Zalia has 18.0 with Vamana in tournament play. Frosty is going to grab up Arachne here because Bastet is banned out, but I feel like this is a bit of a dream team for C9, and Torch has their work cut out for them.
So early on, Thanatos versus Arachne is a joke matchup. If Thanatos goes anywhere near this bug, he is a dead man.
Yes.
Number one rule, do not fight the bug.
What's strange here is Frostiak hasn't played Arachne in tournament play at all, and I guess that's not really all that strange. It's more strange that he picked it in the first place, not that he hasn't played it, because Arachne has fallen off hard since the nerfs to her overall skill set and the life leech as well. So it's a fantastic lineup here, and I think with the comfortable characters that C9 was able to grab with this banning phase, and I think they played it well. They were able to kind of get in the mind of Torch, kind of force them to grab up characters they may not would have wanted to. They banned out the Chalk, and that left them scrambling, and then they left the Vamana on the table just saying, are you going to pick it? Are you going to pick it? Are you going to pick it? Oh, you're not going to pick it? Okay, we're going to swap right of him on. There's Arachne, and it distracted him. And I think everything about C9 is designed to be successful. Picking stage, mindset, the physiological processes that go down with the decision making. And Torch really has to be careful here with these top tier picks that C9 was able to grab up. But again, Torch has a lot of damage capability. One of the downsides of Thanatos is if you're falling behind early, it's hard to be able to get those ultimates. So we'll see how Hyrock plays. He has a 2.4 KD with Thanatos in tournament play. His other successful jungler role is going to be that Thanatos, so he's still hitting home here. Stick around, guys. We'll be back after a 3-minute delay on the stream, making sure that all the spectator things are lined up for you. You absolutely do not want to miss this game. Cloud9 HyperX up against Torch, going down. Game 1, best of threes goes forward right now. The path to 100K is underway. Week 4 about to come to an explosive finish. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Intuition, it's gotta break you. Gotta leave your past around you. It's gotta take you